admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions.
Morning, welcome. Glad you're here. That's the operative word of the day. We're entirely excited to have you join us today. I'm personally excited because this particular subject matter this morning is near and dear to my heart. I'm Chris Pellerito with Mid-Michigan College. We are one of 28 community colleges in the state. I like to think we do things especially well, this being one of them. But we're always seeking to improve, of course, and we'll do so. But again, thanks for joining us today. Mid-Michigan College, just so you know, that's not what this is about this morning, but just so you're aware, we're located here in Mount Pleasant, on our Mount Pleasant campus, about 5 miles from our good friends over at CMU, and about a half an hour north of here, we have a lovely campus outside the town of Harrison. That campus, 500 wooded acres, has its quaint rustic charm. I frequently tell students, one can start about 1,000 pathways at Mid-Michigan College. You can't necessarily complete all of them, but you can certainly start many here with us, and there's a lot of people that care. And having said that, let me mention a couple of people that care. Off camera is my good colleague Annette, way brighter than I am. If you choose to send in a question this morning, I mean, this is live, this conversation, and if you care to send in a question this morning, please do so. Annette will field those questions and lob them to us at the table. And behind the camera, our guru that handles all of that so well, Noah. Really appreciate what you do, Noah. And again, I think you're aware, but this video, I said good morning to you this morning. This video will be slightly edited and then placed on our YouTube channel in perpetuity. Did I get that right? It's a good word to say. Not easy, but good to say. Okay. Finally, before we jump into it, let me frame it this way. Learning is challenging, but knowing is a lot of fun. Okay? I'm going to use that in my book. Don't steal that, Beth. Having said that, we're going to jump into this. Our topic of conversation today is the field of education, which, if you're joining us, likely you've got some interest in that, and thank you for considering that pathway. But I have three, as I've already said, very good guests with me, and if you don't mind, I'd like to start at the far end. Tony, do you mind introducing yourself?
Nope, that'd be great. I'm Tony Wood. I'm a classroom teacher, have been for 26 years now. I currently work at the Claire Gladwin RESD in the Career and Technical Education program, and I teach agricultural science to 11th, 12th graders from the 5 school districts in Clare and Gladwin counties. I also have taught at Harrison Community Schools at the high school level and middle school level for 17 years prior in industrial technology and science. And then my first 3 years of teaching, I taught at Bay City Central High School and Bay City Public Schools at the high school level in industrial technology.
Cool. Miranda, hang on. Tony is being, as I've known him, his reputation precedes him, and I've known him to be humble. He's leaving out a giant fact that he's been recognized as an outstanding teacher by his peers. That's correct, right? I'm not making that one up?
No, you didn't make that up. I was recognized by Farm Bureau as Ag Educator of the Year for 2023. That was quite an honor in my career, and I'm very appreciative to have been recognized for that.
You know, Tony, that's a little like Patrick Mahomes saying, yeah, I play quarterback, and leaving it at that. But I get it. He's humble. Not humble is Miranda. No, I'm kidding. She's actually super. Miranda, go ahead.
Hi there. So I am the Clare County 4-H program coordinator. I've been at that position for coming up 2 years now, and I absolutely love it. MSU Extension is a wonderful organization. They do a lot of great things, so you should definitely check out what MSU Extension can offer you. I really love my job working with 4-H, and I know there's a lot of 4-Hers out there. A lot of them are lifetimers, where they'll be starting from the age of 5, and then they'll be volunteers until the age of 80. So it's definitely another great program for youth development and a really great community to be a part of. So if you're not part of 4-H, you can do career exploration and a lot of wonderful things through there. I actually started off my education journey at a community college, and I highly encourage it. You should definitely start at a community college, especially if you're not too sure exactly where you want to go. It's a lot more financially smart to do that. And then once you get more of a feel of what you want to do, then you can go and think about, all right, where am I going to get that bachelor's? Where am I going to get that master's? I'm actually about to start getting my master's at MSU pretty soon here. So it's been quite the journey, but I'm excited, and you just got to keep going. You just got to keep learning.
Okay, gotta love that fresh perspective. Like I said, she's not humble. Try to, just in case, hold that mic a little bit further away.
Okay.
When you're talking. Okay. And finally, a number of the teachers that I have the pleasure of working with in conducting these roundtables, some of you are watching right now, you may have thought that Pat Onstott would be joining us this morning, because that's what I had told you previously. Regretfully, Pat's not well, but Joyce jumped in, and that's super valuable. Education is often about adjusting and re-strategizing and thinking ahead, and literally there was some adjusting 24 hours ago, and Joyce jumped in. Tell us who you are.
I'm Joyce Castellan. I am an educational data and instructional coach for Mount Pleasant Public Schools. I'm wrapping up my 22nd or 23rd year. I can't keep track any longer.
Either way, it's close.
Prior to being in the coaching role, I was a classroom teacher for lots of years, and I absolutely love my job, and I love working with students and teachers and administrators all across the board.
Cool. Okay. We're going to get back to what you do in a few minutes, but not just yet. I'm going to throw this first one out there to all three of you. We don't have to go in any particular order, but I've got two questions. Why and who? And let me clarify the question. You know, teachers generally have 25 clients at a time. No one else on earth does that kind of a career. I mean, I guess if you're a shepherd, you sort of would be, but that's not where we're going with this. And half of those clients don't want to be there. So my two-part question is this. Why choose a career in education? And who specifically should choose a career in education? Like, what kind of person should one strive to be if I think I want to be an educator? Okay, anybody care to jump in and go first with that? And maybe take them unpack them one at a time. Why education? You know, why that pathway? And who should? Tony's contemplating.
Yeah, just thinking a little bit on that. You know, I think for me, I know for whatever reason, I guess I can't pull off the top of my head exactly why, but when I was a senior in high school, I knew that I wanted to go into education. I knew that I wanted to teach. And I had certain courses, I think like most students do, that I really enjoyed in high school, and I took as many, you know, industrial technology courses as I could, and I took as many science courses as I could. And I think, you know, part of it is like, you know, you have everybody tends to have a passion for something. You know, whether it be poetry or whether it be music or whether it be art or history or mathematics. And, you know, I think if you're an individual that has that passion that, you know, you enjoy learning more about and you enjoy pursuing, it's certainly worth developing that passion. And then I think, you know, certain individuals have another passion to share that with other people, to help other young people find maybe their pathway or find their direction, or to build on their experiences, if that makes sense. So I think finding your passion and developing that, and then also having that passion to lead others down their path.
So on that note, do you think better teachers are more passionate about what they're teaching?
I think it certainly helps. I mean, it's
fair answer.
Yeah, you know, I mean, every one of us have been in classrooms and have had a number of teachers, and I think all of us could have teachers that stand out in our mind of individuals like, wow, they were great. I love that teacher. I love that class. I loved everything about it. And I would say probably 9 times out of 10, you could generally tell that teacher loved what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. That's always, that seems evident.
And that just, you know, that spreads. You know what I mean? That, you know, and at the same time, I mean, you could flip the coin and we could all probably say that, you know, we've had experiences in the classroom that maybe haven't been the most enjoyable as well. And, you know, for whatever reasons, you know, it's, but I think that identifying like what your passions are and what you really enjoy, and then also having that thrive or that drive to share that with others, to help others build their path along the way.
Joyce, Miranda?
Yeah, I can go next. So going off of wanting to help others, that was really the most simple thing that I could really get on board with. When I was trying to figure out exactly what my path and where I was going to go, I let that simple idea guide me. I just wanted to be able to help others. And so when I first was starting my education journey, I thought of the idea that I really wanted to be a pediatric dietitian, helping young people get on the right track with their health. And when I got to college and I was on that path, I realized that, you know, dietetics maybe wasn't my true path. It can be very hard. So I got guided into another path, which was public health education. And that led me down the path that I am now. And I absolutely love the job I'm in. So really, that's where I think that you should try and keep your goal is try to think at the most simple basics. So then you're really not disappointed about what you do become. Because if you get too specific about, I want to do this and I need to have this happen, well, then you put a lot of limitations on yourself. Be open-minded. Think about where your journey is taking you. You know, you got to go with the grain, not against it. So what you're good at, and keep it simple, because that's how you find happiness and your true authentic self.
But wait, what do you say to the student? Even the students watching this, they think they want education some form, but there's a good percentage, we all know this, who say, I'm really not sure what I want. I don't have, I think, a passion. What do you tell them?
You know, I've had a lot of jobs.
As have I.
Yeah. So it's okay to be a little bit of a job jumper at first. You're young. You're experiencing life and trying to figure out who you are. So, you know, I've had a lot of different positions, and I was an employment coach for people with disabilities at Mid-Michigan Industries. I worked at an assisted living home. I've worked at a day treatment program for people that were youth at risk. And so through those positions, I really just discovered myself, and I really just found my passion in education that way.
Cool.
I would agree with these two about following your passion and the desire to help others. I'm in a lot of classrooms across the district. I'm part of a lot of different conferences and professional developments, and the why is a question. Your why. Why are you a teacher? Why did you go into education is asked at those conferences. And usually the why is, I've always known that I wanted to be a teacher, or I had a poor experience with a teacher and I didn't want somebody else. I wanted to fix that, and I wanted to be a positive experience for somebody else. I knew when I was young that I wanted to be a teacher, and after I was in the classroom, I decided that there was more in education. There's more than a classroom teacher. There's lots of different positions, lots of different ways that you can make an impact on students and their learning and achievement. And I wasn't smart enough to be maybe a doctor, or I didn't have the ability or capabilities to do that, but I was able to teach students that are now on to be doctors and lawyers and all kinds of different professions, and it's really a great way to connect and to serve our community.
Excellent. Okay, not to threaten you, Tony, but I met a former teacher of the year for the United States, high school teacher of the year, at a conference a few years back. And I asked him the question, and I want you guys to respond to this as well. And maybe your response will be the same, but I asked him the question. I said, I have a colleague who says to me, students have the right to fail. How would you respond to that? And he looked at me with a very intense look, and he said, I would recommend that teacher change professions. What would you say if someone says to you, well, you know, students, they choose their own path, and they do kind of sometimes fall off that path. They have the right to fail. How would you respond to that if that teacher were sitting in the room with you?
Go ahead.
Well, that's something that if you've been in the classroom for any amount of time, you're gonna run across situations where students maybe aren't applying themselves the best they could, or aren't maybe achieving all that they should, and it is true that some students do make the choice to maybe not apply themselves or to work towards the level of achievement that we would hope. But I would also say that, as educators, we have the obligation and the responsibility to support those students in every way that we possibly can, to help provide them with the resources that they need to be successful, to work to understand their perspective and their circumstances, where they're coming from, to hopefully understand why that perspective is in their frame of mind and how we might be able to have an impact on that and have a positive influence on that student's time right now and their future. But that, I guess, in terms of education, that would be one of the challenging factors that you would run across. Maybe a reluctant learner, or that sort of situation. But
maybe the most challenging.
The most challenging, I would say.
I'm gonna get that.
But at the very same time, that can turn out to be the most rewarding circumstance as well.
Good point.
Because you have that opportunity to have a huge impact and a huge difference in that student's life or that child's life. And your valedictorian is probably going to be your valedictorian, right? I mean,
Sure.
And we're gonna support and guide and offer every opportunity we can to our top students as well. But there's so much room for growth. There's so much room for improvement. There's so much room for a difference in that student's future by being there and being that individual that takes the time to understand and develop and grow that person, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Joyce, what were you going to share?
I was going to say that it takes the right person to make a connection with the student that is choosing that path. Every student has the right to succeed, and I think as educators we believe in students, and all students can achieve and be successful. Everybody's path might be a little bit different, and just having the right individual come into contact with you and provide the supports like Tony was talking about, community resources, different learning styles, and just more support than when you're a teacher. You're not just teaching academics. You're in the role, you wear many hats during the day. You're a parent, you're the rock for some students, you're the provider of food, you're the emotional support, and there's lots of different roles that you play, and just being that right person or the person for one student and making that impact to change the trajectory of their future is...
That's a lot of significant hats and a lot of significant roles that a teacher's playing.
Yes.
A ton.
Yep.
Man.
And it feels like more and more
Yeah.
as
You
the
think
future.
so?
Yes.
Okay. And
Definitely.
we're going to talk about that,
Yep.
about the difference from 10, 15 years ago versus now and where it's headed. But I will get to that. But I want to ask, and I want to start with you. You know what non-negotiables? You know what non-negotiables are? Like, this is my non-negotiable. Like my wife, her non-negotiable is, Chris, you help clean up after dinner. There's no conversation. You just do. But if you had one non-negotiable, one thing that a future teacher must have, what would it be? Patience, wisdom, unlimited bankroll, what would it be?
I think it should be never give up. As these two were just saying, and it really did make me think that when kids are having a hard time, you don't know what they're going through. And just says the same, they don't know what you're going through. We all have our private lives. But when we get together and we struggle, and I think that especially in school, we are challenging each other all of the time intellectually to try and improve ourselves. And so we give those chances over and over and over. And that's what I think, is that if you're going to be in education in any shape or form, when you're working with other people and trying to help them improve, You have to have that in your mind and in your goal set, that you don't give up on them. Even when they're seem to be giving up on themselves. At the end of the day and at the end of their journey with you, they're going to say, thank you so much. You believed in me and you worked with me through all of my struggles and you didn't give up on me.
Have you seen that happen?
Yes.
Cool. Even though your career is not spanning a decade yet, you've already seen it happen.
Oh, yeah, especially working in the day treatment program, and I've worked at a neglect and abuse home for all girls here, and those were especially heartbreaking at times, and seeing youth go through a lot of those struggles of things that I would clearly never even be able to fathom what they have to go through. And the thing is that when you're with them, you got to be present, and you just can't give up.
Joyce, what's your non-negotiable? One thing future teachers have to have.
Be flexible.
How come?
Education, you are constantly changing. You might have a plan for the day and the internet goes out, and then you've got to change your whole entire plan for the day or the next day. Maybe one year you'll be teaching 3 sections of algebra, and then the next year you might be teaching 2 sections of geometry. So you just have to be flexible and change with the behaviors that are in your classroom, the content that you're teaching, and just the punches and jabs that life throws at you with your students, with your colleagues, with whatever goes on in a school.
So one needs to be a little bit structured and have a plan, but you're saying be prepared to flex from that plan.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. One non-negotiable.
Well, they both had really good ones, which I would
Joy of going third.
I would second either of those as well. But yeah, I think I would just go back to that passion, just like being passionate about what you're doing and truly in your core enjoy it and want to be there, and the subject matter side and the teaching and education side as well. Yeah.
My having a passion for whatever I'm endeavoring to teach or to coach, is that likely going to supersede the issues like, dang it, the internet's out, or the equipment we needed didn't come in, or et cetera? Is that part of it?
Well, I mean, those issues are going to be there, and those are still going to be challenges on a daily basis. But I guess it kind of helps keep that perspective of, the big picture. That, we're here to help these students grow and develop and be successful in their path, I guess.
Do you think everybody in your class right now wants to be what you're endeavoring to teach them?
Well, that's a tough question. I come from a little bit of a different perspective from my classroom experience. So, because I teach agricultural science at the CTE level. So, our students, they actually have to fill out an application to be in my class, right? Sure. To be in CTE, career and technical education. So yes, I think that the majority of our students want to be in our program right now. I think over the years, we've had a handful of students that have been in our program because they need certain graduation requirements. But I also feel that those students, they've enjoyed the experience and they've gotten positive experiences out of it.
I believe they want to be in your program.
Yeah. Yep.
Do they want to continue when they're done with your program?
When they're done with the program.
Do they want to be a farmer? Do they want to be ag business?
Yeah, yeah. So that's another good question. I mean, we do end up with a diverse group of students simply because, agriculture is so diverse. You know what I mean? Different careers and pathways. But I would say, yeah, I mean, a majority of our students in our ag program do seek to pursue either post-secondary or work experiences in agriculture. You know, and then I mean, there's, of course, others, like, for example, we have a couple of our students right now that are seniors, and they're thinking about actually careers in education, you know, or, you know, and some that are maybe still trying to find their ultimate pathway, but they've got an idea of about what direction they want to go into.
Okay.
But I think at the same time, you know, the students in our program, their growth and their understanding of the agricultural industry and how their food is produced, and, you know, the different sectors of agriculture, you know, are valuable experiences that those students would take with them forever.
Okay. All right, I said I was going to get back to it, and I'd like to get back to it, and it'll kind of lead into... Sorry, Noah. I said I was going to get back to it, and I'm heading back into it so that we can lead into, because you just touched on, you know, there's an array of pathways. It's not, as we started with, it's not just this, this, and this if you think you want education. But you work as a coach now, right?
Correct.
Okay. But not a coach like I coach. I've been a coach for a long time, but I coach girls soccer. It's not the same at all. Tell us a hair more about what you do, what that means, and then maybe let's chat briefly about career options if I'm interested in education moving forward.
Sure. I am one of 3 district coaches in Mount Pleasant. The 2 other than me were just added. One was added this year and one was added last year, and I've been in this role for about 12 years, so my position has kind of gone like this in the responsibilities that I have. I work with all students and teachers from junior kindergarten through adult ed, including the alternative high school, middle school teachers and students, as well as our teachers that teach at the day treatment facility and the jail. So I'm involved in lots of different conversations, lots of different classrooms, lots of different things. I am coaching teachers on their instructional practices to impact student achievement in their classrooms. So an example would be I go into a classroom, if a teacher requests, or I go in, just pop in, and we work on professional learning rounds. So
Do you have many teachers request your presence? Like, come on in, I want you to help me do better.
yes,
You
between
do?
the 3 of us, yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
I don't mean to sound surprised.
No,
I
no.
can see a lot of people, like, I'm inclined to say, I don't want you to come in and, like, tell me how to do it better. I think I got it right.
The intention behind the coaching is focused on student achievement and student learning. So, for example, if a teacher is, maybe their small groups in their math centers are not running the way that they would think that they should be going, it's helpful to have an outside perspective come in and take a look at what are the students doing, or what am I missing out, what am I not seeing, and then having that conversation and being able to reflect back on observations made in the classroom, anywhere from new teachers to senior teachers. So it's just, it's a variety of what goes on. Other things that I do with instructional technology, when new things come out, like we're a Google district, and that was new a few years ago, and I provided lots of training to teachers on using Google. Google Drive, Google Calendar, Google Docs, and then teaching those lessons and modeling lessons in front of the classroom for teachers so they could sit back and learn while their students learned. And then the next time I would come in, the teacher would have a little bit more of a role in teaching the content, and then eventually they would be scaffolded into being able to do things on their own.
Okay, cool. I'm going to boil this down to distill a little piece of this, and I was going to make some, maple syrup connection, but I won't go there. but I do this because, simplifying it works for my brain. Is it fair to say that one becomes a teacher, and CMU is an excellent college of ed, SVSU is a great college of ed, etc. One becomes a teacher, one gets going as a teacher, but you're never really on your own as a teacher because of people like you in the district, right?
Correct.
Okay. So is it also fair to say what you do, in a sense, like I often use this analogy when I'm teaching, if you're high jumping 4'11", we want you to high jump 4'11" is magnificent, but we want you to high jump 5 feet. I'm going to help you get there because that 1 more inch is challenging, whether you've been teaching 2 years or 22 years, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
Cool.
There's always room for improvement, and there's always room for making a little bit of a tweak that's going to impact your students' learning and success a little bit more.
Is it more of a challenge for you to work with a teacher like Miranda, who's fresher in the field, or someone like Tony, who's already been honored and has received accolades as a teacher? Or is it neither?
I think it's neither. You kind of get a mix of teachers and personalities, and it's just a mix. Most everybody I work with is pleasurable and accepting and wants most everybody. And of course, you come across somebody that is frustrated or whatever. That's going to happen. It's part of life. But I would say a senior teacher versus a newer teacher, it just depends on the person and the personality and what the content is. If you're passionate about language arts, chances are you're not going to want me to come in or wanted me to do something with language arts, but maybe you're not so confident with math, so maybe you want myself or our math coach to come in and see what's going on in your room.
Sure.
So that's where that passion comes back in, and being passionate about your content that you're teaching, and you're more confident about what you're passionate about.
Are you ever directed to particular teachers, like this teacher is struggling, they need your help?
Not at this point.
No.
But it could happen, but we are not a part of the evaluative process.
Sure. Yeah.
We are more of proactive.
Yeah. Cool. Good.
Yep.
Well, let's talk a little bit about pathways in education. For example, I'm thinking of Parapro. I've known some very good folks who they, for various reasons, didn't choose the level of commitment that a bachelor's degree requires, so they chose to become a Parapro. But what else? And maybe our audience, I'm presuming they have an idea of the role of a Parapro who works with a teacher in a classroom. Parapros are super important, much like a medical assistant in the medical field. What else? What do you, if we have 300 students ultimately that will be seeing this, what would you tell them? Like, you've got options, but how would you elaborate on that?
There are lots of options in schools and education. Parapros, kindergarten parapros helping out in the classroom, parapros that help out in special ed classrooms. There's the business side of the school. There's school law and budget law as a whole beast on its own. There's also human resources and the superintendent and administrators, teachers, right down to, the people that keep our school clean and safe, and lots of different options.
So I can be part of the team, but I don't have to be in the classroom teaching.
Right.
Yeah, that just to add to that a little bit, I think, generally when we think about the field of education, we think of a classroom teacher. But, as mentioned, there are so many different positions. And I think about the Claire Gladwin RESD, and I'm in career and technical education right now. And some of the support individuals that we have just in our department, we have a special populations coordinator that works with all of our students with IEPs and 504 plans. We have a work-based learning coordinator that helps make those connections between the classroom and industry and employers, and students go out on job shadows and work-based learning placements. Of course, we have a counselor, as most schools would have a counselor. to help with that transition to college and scholarships and things of that sort. And then our administrative assistants and our director and our CTE coordinator who works with our local districts and each of our programs and making sure that everybody has what they need and the questions are all answered and everything's coordinated
Lots
the
of
way it should
questions
be.
to answer.
And I'm sure I'm forgetting something in the CTE area as well. And then of course, paraeducators is mentioned. And then, at our RESD level, all of the computer technology infrastructure that has to be managed and maintained, that's huge. Those folks are busy in Clare Gladwin right now because the internet's out. And then our itinerant staff. So, maybe the first thought that comes to mind in education is not a psychologist or social worker or physical therapist or speech pathologist or sign language interpreter or there's just so many endless options that individuals have opportunity to work like in that field of psychology or social work, but work in schools and work with young people and have that impact, and to help support those classrooms and teachers and local school buildings and families as well to meet those child or that student's needs.
Cool. What else?
Yeah, so I was thinking one of the most important things that you should be doing is asking these people questions. Find out from them personally what it's like to be a paraprofessional. What did they have to do to get into that position? How did that person become a teacher? How did that person become a computer tech? There's plenty of mentors out there, and there's plenty of people to ask questions to. And possibly you may even have the opportunity to job shadow them and learn different skills from them before you even have the opportunity to move on and get a college degree. So if you just really widen your horizons that way and learn from them, that's definitely where you should start. Is if you have people that are working with you and you're close to them, treat them as a mentor. Ask them questions and find out from them what it's like.
Yeah, that's golden. I mean, yours was golden too, but that's good. I'm glad you referenced that. That's an important detail. I teach comm sometimes at Mid, and we talk about how powerful it is just simply asking. It can be really powerful. I mean, if you're polite and respectful of their time, people will give you the world. They'll tell you what they did right, what they did wrong, what they think you should do, what they think you shouldn't do. Okay, we could go on that for another 20 minutes, but alas, we won't. And we're kind of, believe it or not, regretfully coming around the final lap here. This question, or a form of this question, came in about a week ago, and I kind of just tweaked the question a little bit, but any of you can jump in on this, or none of you can jump in on it, and we'll move on. But a Greek philosopher way back when, and I don't know that I can even recall his name or how to pronounce his name, but he noted, I'm paraphrasing here, he noted that as we do in the past, we're likely going to do in the future. Now, behavioral psychologists talk about this. So if I'm 17 years old and I'm not that organized, or I don't know what I want, and I have no idea what I would teach if I do become a teacher, what should I start working on right now? What should I develop if I think I want to be a pretty good something involved with education? We sort of I asked you your non-negotiables, but this might be not so firm, but still, hey, really important. Thoughts?
I would say get out and talk to people, get in the classroom, talk to people in the position that you think that you might be interested, or maybe you think that that would never be for me. Have the conversation, because maybe there's something about it that would be appealing and really hit home, and that's what you want to do. So get the experience, talk to people, visit classrooms, visit jobs. That would be my advice.
Talk to adults?
adults, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only say that because
Talk
it seems
verbally.
like many 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds aren't that. And I get it. I wasn't either. But they're not that comfortable speaking with adults. But you can get a lot out of that, believe it or not. What else?
I think maybe just look for opportunities to build and develop leadership skills, and that look for opportunities to provide some mentorship, whether it's maybe joining a club or a group that you think you would enjoy, that you have maybe some skills in that you could share with other people, whether it be looking for opportunities to work with, if you're a high school student, maybe work with middle school or elementary students. If you're individual that plays sports, maybe those youth teams that have young athletes developing their skills, that you might be able to get on the field and help those students would be an opportunity to step into a little bit of a teaching experience and just kind of see what you think of it and how you feel about it. Maybe an opportunity to volunteer, at different events, things of that sort.
Yeah, so I don't want to toot my own horn a little bit here, but
you will.
I'm gonna toot toot.
Those MSU Extension folks, geez.
4-H has everything that you're looking for when it comes to skill building. And that is, there's clubs, there's career exploration. We recently started a new club called 4-H J-Teens. If you're not familiar with JCs, it's a young professionals network that helps with networking, community service, and fundraising projects for the community. So we're teaming up with them to do the 4-H J-Teens, open from 12 years old to 19. Essentially the same exact type of thing, but just for us younger folks. And we also have what is called Career Exploration Days, which is actually happening in June, and registration is open right now, where you can go on and pick out some different classes for a 3-day camp that's at MSU on campus. That's another great way. If you can't make it this year, you can try next year. And that's open until you're from like 12 years old until you're 19 years old. We have a veterinarian camp. So if you're interested in that, honestly, just contact me or your 4-H program coordinator in your county, and we'll be able to get you set in the right direction on how you can get started.
Okay. Yeah. I swear this wasn't intended to be an infomercial for 4-H, but it is worthwhile. And I have had a number of times where it's a 4-H kid, and I didn't know it, but then you interact with them for a little while, and it's like, I'd hire that kid. And then you find out they're a 4-H'er. Super cool, but no more 4-H infomercial stuff. Okay, here we go. Briefly, because alas, we're running out of time. Any of you touch on, well, I guess maybe our two at either end, touch on what'd you see 10 years ago you don't see now, or you see more of now, or how is education different and we need to be aware or considering as we're moving forward? Where do you see it heading in the next 10 years?
I use AI a lot.
I wondered if that would come into this conversation. You do already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How?
Yeah, I use it a lot for my social media. I mean, I'm running a program all by myself. I mean, I have a lot of volunteers and a lot of things that I'm coordinating, but in general, my project management for my organization with 4-H, I have to try and figure out, okay, how am I going to be the marketing manager, the project manager, designing and promotion, and so I'm doing all of those things, and AI really does help. Like, even when it comes to writing up quick stuff or giving me ideas on, like, what are some really good spring theme projects that I can have at my next event, you know? Mm-hmm. And so there's just a lot of ways that I can use AI to prompt it and help me just become more creative and more effective without having to use so much brain power. I mean, yes, it's important to challenge yourself and don't overuse it, but it still is one of those things that we just have to get used to and know how to use correctly.
So Miranda, you're not afraid of AI's involvement in education. As a matter of fact, it sounds like you expect it'll play a bigger role moving forward, a bigger beneficial role moving forward.
Most definitely.
Okay. And for me, 10 years ago, AI was going to somebody like Tony and saying, "What do you think?" Anything else? Is there anything that worries you about or concerns you, or hey, we need to be aware of, and not necessarily AI, as far as education, where it's heading?
I guess I don't have any huge or major concerns off the top of my head. I'll echo Miranda in that technology, obviously, and I mean, in every facet of our life has evolved immensely in the last 10 years, and of course we would expect that to continue at what I feel is an exponential rate of change. So I guess the biggest thing would be just to be able to stay on the front of that and to utilize resources to help you incorporate that technology in the classroom and use it in a positive way to have a beneficial impact. I mean, as we talked about this a little bit, it's been a while since I've thought about recording grades on bubble sheets and having paper attendance records and grade books, so submitting a grade book in the beginning of my career was actually turning in a physical book where, now the student management systems just take care of that. You enter your grades and it's there. But it's also, I think the technology is, offered a lot of opportunity in class and a lot of access, in education.
I would say some of the biggest differences, in addition to technology and the advances in technology and combating it from it's a helpful tool for students and teachers, but echoing teaching students how to use it appropriately, and then teaching teachers how to teach the students how to use it appropriately and to know what the students are doing and how they're using it, maybe not so nicely. But in addition to the technology and the changing curriculum and all those kinds of things, I think that I've seen a huge change in social emotional health and behavior and attention and resources dedicated to the whole child, and you're not teaching just academics. It's more focusing on social skills and mental health as well.
Man, we already said there's a whole lot to cover, but that's even more so.
Yes.
Okay. This has been really, really worthwhile. We're wrapping it up here, so I'd love to offer you the chance to share your final thoughts, knowing that, again, anywhere from 200 to 400 17 and 18-year-olds who think they might want to make a commitment towards education. Final thoughts, what do you want to share?
I would say follow your passion, get involved, and don't be afraid to try something out. And if it's not for you, try something else. There are lots of different positions in education, and not just standing and teaching in front of the classroom, but there's all kinds of parts that make a school work and function at the school level, the district level, and the state level. Lots of options. We need lots of people.
Yeah, and I would echo that. Just realize that regardless of what your interests are, there's a place in education for you, whether it is any of those number of different types of positions that we talked about. And there's a huge need for people to enter the field of education in all levels, which means that there's a lot of opportunity. You can pretty much go anywhere you want and work in education, as far as geographically and regionally. And there's a lot of support, a lot of grants, a lot of scholarships. There's a lot of initiative at the local level and state level to help support individuals, in the college tuition and the expenses of education and things like that. So, talk to your teachers, talk to your counselors, talk to your college admission representatives, find out what grants, what scholarships, what supports are there, and just go for it.
So I think it's all about trying to figure it out, right? And I'm still trying to figure it out myself. That's never going to stop. So don't be discouraged when you feel like you don't know what to do, because it's a lot of what it is. We all kind of feel that way, just to be 100% honest. So I would recommend trying to get as much experience as you can. If you aren't finding yourself obligated to have to work a summertime job, try volunteering. That's a big thing when it comes to getting out into the community and figuring out yourself, is just planting some roots, getting to network with other people, and that's a great way to find opportunities that you may have not had a chance to have before if you never would have met that person on that volunteer opportunity that you did. So yeah, just keep going, try new things, don't be afraid.
Excellent. Cool. Okay. I already mentioned that when I teach, we definitely touch on the power of asking questions. We also touch on the power of being grateful and gratitude. It reverberates. It's powerful. So having said that, thank you very much for being part of this. This was really good. And thank you for the privilege of sharing some of your time, your very valuable time with us. Teachers, thank you for sharing that time. And students who are watching this, once more, thank you for even considering a path in education. It's really an important one. And keep in mind, along that line of gratitude, keep in mind that one of the most powerful people in your life is probably sitting, 20 feet from you, that teacher in your classroom. So before you leave today, in a polite, respectful way, thank them. Give them that figurative pat on the back. I'm a literal pat on the back kind of person, but just either way, thank them for doing what they do. This is our final roundtable conversation for this school year. Next year, God willing, we'll host 6 of them again. But thank you for joining this one. And if you feel like it was a worthwhile part of your time, pass along the link, and we'll look forward to seeing you next year. Thanks again.